Oh, yeah.
I'm not willing to see the Arab countries as being particularly oppressive, more so than the so-called Christian countries.
Whoa.
To me, they're on the verge of something very beautiful. All of them, Syria, Egypt, Iran, all the ones they call are crazy. Whenever I run into these people and I talk to them, they seem quite sane to me. And you can't get anywhere by degrading Islam when it's just basically so many people taken to that religion. It seems bizarre.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. The people that I've met that are from a lot of those countries are more conscious. To me, they're very conscious of what they're doing, their actions. They're very in their bodies.
And they're very beautiful, and they're very sensitive, and they're very similar to us. So, and in all those countries, you can see the artists and the free thinkers are very much like the artists and the free thinkers in every other country.
Yeah.
The wonderful things are coming out of feminism in Islamic countries, and we're just about to see it in homosexual rights. It's the same stuff that's coming out here. I mean, what was Stonewall has only happened a few years ago when the cops used to go and beat up the gays in the bars. Just a few years ago. Just a few years ago when I was a kid, the governor of the state of Mississippi told black people that they couldn't go to school. And he tried to enforce that with a gun. Just a few years ago, they were hanging people who tried to get black people to vote. When I was a kid, that's what they were doing. If they're behind us, if you think it's falling behind, it's only a few years.
What are we talking about now?
We're talking about that Islam is really nothing to be scared of.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Yeah. And if you're looking for extremism and ridiculousness, just look to this country 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago. Same kind of crap.
But you can't go back.
No, and they're looking forward. We need to make love with these people instead of alienate them.
Make love with who?
With Iran.
You want to go to those Arab nations whose first word out of their mouth to Americans is death, and you want to, make love to them?
Yeah.
You're into kinky stuff, I know.
No, not that kind of love. To express love to them.
Honey, you know what?
Yeah.
You are so naive. I bet you are too coward to go to the Middle East. You go to Iraq or Iran, and go ahead. Go spread your mission of love. Let's see how far they get you. They'll friggin' kidnap you and behead you.
Look what's happening in Iran. It seems that about 80%, what I've heard, about 80% of the women and young people in Iran, supposedly the craziest country in the world, are thinking exactly like the hippies of the 60s. Oh. They're doing exactly the same thing, and they're in the streets, and they're about to overthrow Ahmadinejad as we speak.
When they do, let me know.
That's exactly what happened in 78. The Iranian Revolution happened in 78, and they overthrew the government and the Shah. They have the power to do it, and I think they might do it.
Okay.
I mean,
don't get your hopes up high. Not in that country.
There were 1 million people in the streets of Tehran. They shut the city down. Ahmadinejad had to send his goons up on top of buildings to shoot them.
I hope to God that country gets a lot of good. They need it.
They've already expressed more democratic zeal and a desire for freedom than we have since the 60s. It's extraordinary what they're doing. They need to be supported, and you can see we're unit. I'm a
think
real
the Arabs and the Israelis should live together?
Absolutely.
Oh, God. Really?
They did for years.
Let me ask you, you serve in the Israeli army?
No, I didn't serve in any army.
Neither did you, Stephanie. No, but I lived in Israel. My sister served in the army.
Right.
But let me ask you a question. You think it's possible for the Israelis and Arabs to live together?
Absolutely.
But they are right now, aren't they?
No, they're oppressed. The Palestinians
are oppressed. You know how much land they got back? It's never enough. They want all of Israel.
Here's the deal. Okay. I spoke to a Palestinian 3 weeks ago, and he was raging against Jews and Zionism, and I spoke to him in his own language with Islamic stories, talking about, and I listened to him, and I said, within 5 minutes, he was almost in tears, and he admitted that peace is the only way to go. And he realized our total unification. He's an absolute Palestinian extremist. He wanted to throw rocks. All that disappeared when I approached him the way I approached him. And he just went to Palestine 2 weeks ago to have his teeth worked on.
Where did he go?
Palestine.
What do you mean Palestine? What do you
Palestine.
mean? Israel?
No, Palestine.
Where's Palestine?
It's the little area that the Israelis gave him to live. Anyway, and he...
The West Bank?
Yes, and he spent, what was it, 6 hours in getting out of the airport, because even though he's an American citizen,
right.
They go through checkpoint after checkpoint after checkpoint after checkpoint. You simply cannot maintain.
And do you know why we have so many checkpoints, Garth? Let me guess.
I know why.
Do you know why?
Yes.
Why do we need such measures of security? Why?
Because people are dangerous when they're angry. People are dangerous when they're angry.
Do you know why we have so many checkpoints? I'll tell you why. Because they smuggle in bombs, suicide bombers.
Absolutely.
There's never no, we need to have checkpoints because you never know if that little old lady who's carrying her basket of bread is going to blow up people around her in the market.
And you're quite right. And they do it all the time. But the thing is, this isn't the way to end it.
Look what this
The Israelis are...
The
Israelis are notoriously bad at bringing peace to their little little corner of the world. It can be done much better. And one of the things is if somebody in Israel needs to say the word Palestinian state, and they haven't said it yet. And somebody in Israel needs to understand that you don't go to the dome and
the Dome of the Rock?
Yes, and say something and do things which are offensive to another religion.
Because who's going to the Dome?
Well, they did it just 3 years ago. It's the Rock of the Dome. What's his name? Did something horrible.
Who? A Jew?
What
did he do?
The president of Israel did something which I remember.
President? Israel doesn't have a president.
Well,
the prime minister?
Prime minister.
What did he do?
He did something.
They do have a president.
He did something which was...
But the
president.
Look, there is not enough sensitivity among Israeli leaders to create a state of peace, and yet it is very doable, and it will be done, but it won't be done the way they're doing it.
Why do you think it hasn't been done?
It hasn't been done because there is...
No president in America has been able to do this.
Well, president, they can't be just an American. There's not a state...
I'm in America.
Because, Stephanie, because Jews inherently have a distrust.
Israelis or Jews?
Jews too. Jews, even in this country, inherently have a distrust and a distaste for Islam, and you cannot create peace with that. Once you come there with that thought in your mind, with the thought that these people are somehow inferior, you automatically create war.
What in the world are you talking about? Wait, Islam? What's that got to do with Israel?
I saw Obama go to Egypt, and I listened to his full 1 hour speech, and those were the words that peace sounds like. Peace sounds like that.
Yeah.
Peace does not sound like we've got to do something about these weirdest Muslims.
Who's saying that?
Everybody I come to in this country is afraid of Islam, because they all say, well, look what
we're afraid of extremists, but we're not afraid of
we've got the extremists here.
But we're afraid of people blowing us up for what we believe in.
Yeah, but we blow people up too. We overthrew the Shah of Iran in 1963.
Okay, but
installed the
you
Shah
don't live there.
1963.
How would you like it if your neighbor, if you knew at any moment when you walked to a corner there was a bomb waiting to kill you?
I would hate it.
You live in America.
Yes, but this is not the way to solve it. The way to solve it is by making genuine, loving, peaceful overtures. Every problem can be solved that way. And
what happened to Gandhi?
He created the greatest peaceful revolution the world has ever seen, and it was totally successful.
And how did he die?
He was shot by a Sikh, one of his own.
There will always be somebody...
But wait a second. He was shot by one of his own. Not by a Muslim.
What was the prime minister in Israel? Who was the one that was...
Goldeneye.
No, the one who was assassinated. Yitzhak Rabin?
Yes.
Was it Rabin? It was Rabin.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yitzhak Rabin.
Right. And he was killed by one of his own. Not by a Muslim, by another
Exactly.
Jew.
But my
point... I mean, you see it over again. Who killed Martin Luther King? It was the FBI, one of his own.
FBI?
Yeah, the FBI. It was J. Edgar Hoover that did him in. Because they knew that there were extremist groups, and they could have disabled them and disarmed them, but because J. Edgar Hoover had such incredible hatred for Martin Luther King, he was on his personal hit list, the white supremacists that were populating that, this part of the world, that he could have taken out of commission, he let Rome free, and eventually they had their way with it.
Right, but we're talking
The
about
same thing with Malcolm X. Malcolm X, who spoke out against Elijah Muhammad because he was a man of principle, because Malcolm X was a man of principle, and he said that Elijah Muhammad was not, was killed by a fellow Muslim.
So what's the point?
The point is that we need to approach people who are different with love, acceptance, and understanding. And that alone, not alone, but that is the main thrust of how peace will be made. And it hasn't been done by the Israelis successfully, and whenever it's tried, it works. Because you look what Obama did, the whole Islamic world is in love with this guy.
We'll see what his stand is to Israel, and we'll see how much they love him. They're not too happy with him for not taking a stronger stand against Israel right now. They want him to make Israel
he spoke truth.
He
spoke truth. He said Israel will have to accept that there will be a Palestinian state, and Palestinians will have to accept that Israel has the right to exist.
Exactly.
That's the truth.
Right. But they also won't rest until they get Jerusalem. They want every part of Israel to be there.
That happens whenever that happened to black people when you told them that they weren't even being.
Could you imagine America giving back the land to the Native Americans? Let's talk about the history.
This happened to black people. When you take black people, you say you tell them that they're second-class citizens. When you tell black people for hundreds of years that they're second-class citizens, sooner or later you get this group of black supremacists who said that whites are an inferior, unimaginably, incomprehensibly bearable people, and you get the reaction. You can't just keep punching somebody before they want to punch you back. That's what you're seeing. When you are aggressive against somebody, they're aggressive against you. So of course, after this country has raped all the oil and installed every fascist leader and supported every fascist king in the Arab world for now, for as long as we've been sucking oil out of the ground, yes, they're angry. Okay, I would be too. But you got to see, if you're an Egyptian and you see that fascist Egyptian leaders are being supported by the U.S. government, you're going to hate the United States. That's natural. If your country democratically elected a president in 1963 and the United States comes and rips them out and installs their Shah, a puppet Shah, then yeah, you're going to be angry. We do it over and over and over again, then we wonder why people hate us. We hate us because this is the nation, the most powerful military nation in the world, and we do dumb and stupid things, and people hate us for it.
What are we talking about now, America?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, it was okay to take Hitler out of power because he started it first, but it's not okay to overthrow a democratically elected president of Iran and put the Shah in power, because that's fascism and that's aggression, and that makes us despised all over the world, and we have to apologize for it.
You should have run for government.
We have the president who's saying the exact same thing.
Talk about you.
Me? No, I'm happy just to be a daddy. That's
but
all.
you've got a lot of wisdom to spread to people.
Well, yeah, but this thing's been said. I first read this in a book written by Jay Fulbright in the 60s. He said the exact same thing. He said, whenever a real democracy tries to spring up in South America, we overthrow it. Whenever it happens in Asia, we go in there and interfere with it. We are incapable of respecting democracy, because whenever it happens, we toss it aside.
Let's see how it is with Obama. Maybe he'll be different.
Well, he's saying the things that need to be said, because democracy is important, and you must respect people of other nations. And right now, when we're totally oil addicted, we have to support every cruel and ridiculous, whether it be Kuwait or Egypt or Syria. We have to support every idiot who has access to oil. And we're going to do it in the same thing. We're going to do it in Kenya, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it in Iraq.